Hey everyone, welcome back to Imagination Tech. So I just got a package back from Mark, who is doing a video of this quad. All right. So this is the Emax Tinyhawk Freestyle, and by the time this video goes out, I'm hoping that the video for Tiny Philippines featuring the Emax Tinyhawk Freestyle will be out as well. So I'm just gonna put a card somewhere up here or there. So do check that out because that's going to be a really cool looking video. So anyway, what we're going to be doing is now that we have this back in our possession, is we're going to be taking a look at what's inside this package and taking it out to fly and see how it flies, and then we'll give you what I think about. I'll tell you what I think about this this nice little package, or this nice little quad. All right. So anyway, stay tuned. So this is the Tinyhawk Freestyle, and just like the Tinyhawk S, instead of coming in a cardboard box, it comes in this really cool black carrying case, which is very convenient, and I really like this. And it's actually the same case that comes with the Tinyhawk S. In fact, this is even the Tinyhawk Freestyle. This is the Tinyhawk S. My Tinyhawk S actually has a broken motor, and I also need a replacement frame. But yeah, this is in even the Tinyhawk Freestyle. So this is the Tinyhawk Freestyle. And yeah, as you can see, that after opening the case, the only thing that was changed inside was the cutout for the foam cutouts. So obviously they can't use the same cutout for the Tinyhawk S because it has different shape and different things inside. So in our compartment we have the Tinyhawk Freestyle manual, and also comes with some Emax stickers just like the Tinyhawk S, and it also comes with these propellers. So these propellers, unlike the Tinyhawk S, where the propellers are already mounted when you get it, because obviously it's a ducted quad, micro quad. Now the Tinyhawk S Freestyle doesn't have, you can't fit the propellers into the case, so that's just a little bit unfortunate, I think. But yeah, of course, this is a little bit bigger than the Tinyhawk S, so you have to make some compromises. So it comes with two 450 milliamp 1S batteries, and this is the same battery that came with the Tinyhawk S, except that there's two of them. And it also comes with a USB charger. This is for 1S only. So that's the design thinking for the Tinyhawk Freestyle. Instead of using 2S batteries, they opted to go for two 1S batteries that you plug in at the same time. So it does come with a bag of spares, so you can see some screws, some soft mounts, heat shrink, and it even comes with an XT30 connector, which I guess for some people who want to change up their connector to an XT30 instead of the default PH2 for 21S, then that's also a possibility. And then there's another PH2 spare connector there. Now let's take a look at the Tinyhawk Freestyle itself. First, let's weigh it in. So the Tinyhawk Freestyle, let's remove the lens cap first. It weighs in at 46.2 grams with the two 450 milliamp hour batteries. It comes out to about 71.4 grams. So that is the all-up weight. Just comparing this to the Larva, which is a 2 to 3S toothpick as well. This is 50.7 grams, so it is just a tad heavier than the Emax Freestyle. The Tinyhawk Freestyle rather, but again, this is a 2 to 3S, 2S or 3S micro brushless toothpick, and the Tinyhawk Freestyle is just, I think this just goes for 2S. Let's just move that aside for a second, and let's take a look at the insides of this. So inside, it's a really low profile frame, just like many of the larger 5-inch freestyle quads, and the batteries are meant to be mounted on top, like most freestyle quads. If you have a race quad, then you probably mount your batteries on the bottom. But for freestyle quads, it's usually mounted on top because of the flight characteristics of having that weight up above the prop line. So taking a look at the insides of this, the camera, the flight controller board, and the VTX is actually the same components as that of the Tinyhawk S. So that means that the ESCs are also just 5 amps, but I think that is adequate for this. If we're just gonna be flying this for 2S. And it comes with the only difference is the motors and the frame. So if you have a broken Tinyhawk S, you can migrate those parts and just get these 1103 7000 kV motors and this frame separately, and then you have yourself a Tinyhawk Freestyle converted from a Tinyhawk S. Now again, I mentioned that instead of having an XT30 connector, they opted to have two, so that you can use these two 1S batteries, and it's actually very convenient to have these, because you can have like a multi charger for 1S batteries. For a lot of 1S batteries you can charge, and you don't have to balance anything out, because they charge on separate channels. So that is how you mount it. So it's mounted on top. So there it goes. Also, there are two notches up there. So if you want to change the up tilt of your camera, there are two angles that you can choose from. It's not like, aside from that, you can't I don't think you can mount it some other way unless you probably change the camera out. So that might be something we might look into as well. So let's change the VTX, because we have a Diamond VTX. So if I wanted to have better DVR on this, that might be something I might consider. The antenna placement is kind of weird, to say the least. It is heat shrink wrapped with a zip tie, but I'm not sure why it's mounted there, because I am foreseeing that maybe the batteries might be blocking the signal depending on where you're flying or what orientation your quad is in. So I'm not sure this is the best or the optimal placement for the antenna, so we will take a look and see if we can change that up. Yeah, so anyway, right now let's plug this into Betaflight, check out the default settings, and then maybe we can change a couple, but for the most part we're gonna leave it at stock and then just go ahead and fly this thing. Alright, so that was the Tinyhawk Freestyle. I spent a lot of time flying this thing, and I can't say if I like this better or I like the Larva X better, but because both of them fly really well. I've spent an afternoon bashing this thing, and it's really solid. While I can't say the same for Larva X, which I feel that it might the canopy or the frame might break more easily than this one, but this is really solid. So I really think this is a really great quad, or a toothpick style quad. Especially if you're a beginner. It does fly, it seems to fly a little bit slower than the Larva X, doesn't fly as fast, but overall the tune, the flight characteristics, it is just as nimble. It actually is quite fast. I'm not saying it's slow, it is very fast, but yeah, I think this is a very good toothpick style quad in terms of for freestyle especially. So that has been it for this review of the Tinyhawk Freestyle. I hope you enjoyed this video. What did you think about the Tinyhawk Freestyle? I really recommend you getting one, and I'm just gonna post some links in the description where you can buy this thing for cheap. All right. So anyway, that is going to be it. Let me know what you think about the Tinyhawk Freestyle in the comments, and as always, keep building, keep flying. Click on the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. As always, keep building and keep flying.